But it's time to go to our guest line and talk with our own weei.com's own Tom Carroll, who joins us right now here, making his debut on the Christian Arcand Show. TC, how we doing, buddy?
An honor to be here, dude. Congrats on the new show.
Thank you very much. It's nice to have this new show. It's nice to have you as a available guest, and I look forward to talking with you about many different topics. Let's go ahead. I want to save the Chick-fil-A thing for a little bit later. Let's go through some of the news of the day because people may or may not know that you are very active in the journalism side of WEEI. You're down at the Garden a lot. You're down in Foxborough a lot, getting sound and reporting, and also writing sort of op-ed pieces for the website. You've been a busy guy this year, I would say.
Yeah, trying to stay busy. With football season ending, it's gotten a little less hectic, going to hockey and basketball, trying to figure out my schedule there. But I've been really happy with how the Patriots offseason has gone. Just from a reporter standpoint, journalist standpoint, whatever you want to call me, media guy standpoint, It was nice that it all happened just so quickly like that. And I know people have some reservations about how the Crafts went about it. Oh, they didn't go through a real process, yada, yada. Well, first of all, they got the best coach available. And all the reporting out there says that Vrabel was the top candidate for, all of these teams.
Right.
So they got the best guy, and they did it as quickly as possible so then they could get a move on building out this staff. And from our perspective, we didn't have to waste a week talking about who are they going to hire? What are they going to do? All these fake interviews. It was like, no, they got it done. They got the press conference. They got things moving. And I'm glad they got a bunch of adults in the room. That's how I like to describe what they've done over the last few weeks here, building out this coaching staff, getting guys in that have good experience, that can actually help, build a good game plan and develop players, something that this team lacked last season. So I've been really happy with what the Patriots have done in the early going here in the offseason.
I have too, and neither Vrabel nor McDaniels was the number one guy on either of my lists, but I'm looking around at these other teams, Tom, and looking at who they're hiring and how they're going about it, like Liam Cohen in his press conference, Aaron Glenn over there with the Jets, and I don't know. I mean, last year, neither Gerard Mayo nor Alex Van Pelt were anybody's first choice other than Robert Kraft. I mean, Robert Kraft really wanted Gerard Mayo. No one else was about to hire him to be a head coach, and Alex Van Pelt was, the 13th choice that they made? At the very least, even though they weren't my top choices, Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels, very strong arguments could be made that they were the best, most qualified options at both of the openings that they had that anybody hired the entire offseason, and that includes, Ben Johnson with the Bears. He was a big name. You can make the argument that Vrabel was a bigger one. He'd had success in the league before. And with Josh McDaniels, his resume speaks for itself as a coordinator. That's night and day compared to last year. So at the very least, I've started to come around a little bit on that. But that's a big difference, right? I mean, that last year it was just slapping the thing together.
Yeah, and I think you hit on it there. They needed to get guys in here that were more of a sure thing. They couldn't afford, after the year they just had and after the last few years of floundering with Bill towards the end, to bring in a guy like Ben Johnson, who they didn't know if he can be an awesome head coach or not. And they couldn't afford to go out and get a young hotshot OC that they don't know if he can be the guy here in New England with a team of guys that isn't ready to compete for Super Bowls, right? And I think that they can take a much bigger step next year than I think a lot of people probably realize if they do things correctly in the draft and free agency, which is obviously a huge if, but they needed to go out and get sure things. And McDaniels has the proven track record. And I know people like to point to everything he's done success-wise was with Tom Brady and with Bill Belichick as his boss. A lot of what he's done success-wise was with those guys, but to have Mac Jones have the year that he had, his rookie year, and then to see the regression Mac had post-McDaniels, I think that that's a big feather in his cap. And then also the stuff he did with Matt Castle, too. Sure, Belichick was there as well, but this is all stuff that you can point to with McDaniels outside of the Brady stuff and say, this guy is clearly an OC that knows what he's doing. And yeah, he's a horrible head coach, but he's a really good offensive coordinator. So give him Drake May and let's see what happens here. So they couldn't afford to go out and make a risky hire at either of those spots, given the position they're in as a franchise locally and league-wide.
We're talking with Tom Carroll, weei.com. Let's shift to the Celtics for a bit, and then I want to talk about Chick-fil-A. Jeffrey Lurie, I saw you wrote about this a couple of days ago, emerging as a finalist to purchase the Celtics, one of the bidders that was named by Bill Simmons. You seem pretty excited about this. Do you think that the sale of the team is impacting the actual team on the floor right now in any way?
You know, it's interesting. I really feel like the Celtics are just in a malaise right now. And you can decide if you think that that's something that people should be concerned about, or if it's something that you're going to be okay with and think they're going to snap out of. I personally think at some point they're going to snap out of it. I think that this team was on a 6-year odyssey to win a freaking championship, and they did it. And then 3 of their best players went to France and had to deal with the whole Olympics thing. And yes, Tatum didn't really play that much, but he still had to be out there, and he never really got that mental break that a lot of these guys get after winning a title. And then, you know, however many days later, training camp started. They basically got no break here, and Drew Holiday does look like he's gotten a little older here overnight, right? And Porzingis hasn't been fully healthy the whole year, although he's looked awesome in recent days. So I think that they're going to snap out of this. I don't want to be in panic mode. I know Jaylen Brown hasn't had the greatest season, but I'm not worried. And maybe that's me wearing the homer cap, and maybe that's me still being so excited about the fact that they broke through and won that title in June. But I just feel like they need to eventually lock in and focus on the games that matter here in April and May towards that next championship. Because, like, how excited can you get for a game at the Smoothie King Dome in December after you just went through everything you went through? And I know you need to stack these wins to get a high seed, but, I mean, can you really blame these guys?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a fair question, certainly. All right, let's get to what everyone wants to hear about now, and that is how you remember when you first came back here, and I think it was me and Jones were in the studio. Maybe it was me, Jones, and Mega. The 3 of us were here, and you walked in. I didn't recognize you. And everyone's like, "Oh, Tom from the old station." I said, "Oh my God!" I remember the first thing I said. I was like, "Did you lose a bunch of weight?" And you were like, "Yeah." As a matter of fact, I did. I did lose a bunch of weight.
I walked in the studio and I was saying hi to everyone, and you had kind of a confused look on your face.
Yeah.
And then eventually you realized that it was me.
Right.
And it was the first thing you said. You're like, "Did you lose a bunch of weight or something?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I actually did." So I was glad to finally get that story out there. It's been really cool.
The story in a nutshell, and I'm going to miss some obviously big details here because it was a very detail-oriented story, and you went through a lot, obviously. You were a big dude, you know, up in the 400-pound range, basically, and you hadn't been going to the doctor, and I relate to that, too, by the way. There was a stretch where I didn't want to go to the doctor either. I wasn't as big like that, but I just knew, you know, I didn't want...
It's not fun.
I wasn't going to like what I heard when I went there. I was one of those things you could tell, and that's a real thing. So you weren't really going, and when you finally did, you had some health episodes, and they told you that you needed to lose some weight like pronto. And so you started eating Chick-fil-A salads. Tell me the exact menu item.
It's the spicy Southwest salad from Chick-fil-A.
Spicy Southwest salads. Grilled chicken, I'd imagine, yes?
It's a grilled filet, yeah. So
Grilled
it's not
filet.
like they're grilled
Okay.
nuggets. It's kind of like a thinly sliced filet that they season with these spices, and it's amazing. And it's cold. It's a cold chicken.
Cold chicken, okay. And you went from tell me the before and after of your weight after a year of eating that salad every day.
Yeah, so every day for lunch, spicy Southwest salad, started at 360 pounds, and at the end of it, weighing in at 228 pounds.
That's like how much I weigh. That's like how much I weigh.
Huh.
You were much bigger than me, and now you're my size. Like, that's remarkable. It really is. I mean, props
crazy,
to
man.
you for number one, having the discipline to be able to do that, because that's really hard. You know, like I know cravings for the food that you like are so hard to ignore. At times that you just, it's so easy to just crack open a beer or order a pizza or go get something else from Chick-fil-A, like what I usually order from Chick-fil-A or something like that. I mean, it's just so easy to fall into that. So props to you for the discipline that must have taken. I mean, all diets are hard, but that much weight loss, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's been crazy, man, and it's still surreal. And I wrote about this in the essay, but I took about 6 months before actually writing anything or posting about it because I was worried as a big guy that I was going to put it back on. And any big guy can relate to the fact that they'll lose 20 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, and then within 6 months to a year, they're putting it back on. Because when you're a big guy, if you cut like one small thing out, you can lose a bunch of weight really quick.
Right.
So it was the idea of I'm going to lose this weight and then I'm going to make sure that I found a routine that works for me, that allows me to keep it off. And that's what the Chick-fil-A stuff did, man. It was a salad that is not just your ordinary salad. Like it got me excited to go and eat the salad every day for lunch. Like it's actually delicious. And it was one of those things where it was almost like a game to me. I was like, how am I going to make sure I get this salad in every single day?
You never got tired of eating it every day. It's like a dog eating dog food. Like you never got tired of eating it every day?
No, I really didn't. And the funny thing is a lot of people have said, well, how did you eat it on Sundays? They're closed on Sundays.
Right.
And to that I say, have you ever heard of a refrigerator and Tupperware?
Right.
So, yeah, on Saturdays I'd get an extra salad there, however it timed out. I usually would go every other day and get 2 salads at once just to avoid the, gas putting it on there to go to the restaurants. But I got to know people at the restaurant too, and they started rooting for me, which was awesome.
You walk in like Norm at Cheers, everybody's like, "Hey, Tom, normal seat right over here.
Honestly,
get that man a salad."
Honestly,
really, all right.
It truly was like that in the drive-thru.
Now, Tom, I don't want to blow up your spot here, but are you in touch with Chick-fil-A? Like, is there something that's going to? And I don't want to make allusions to other people who have lost a lot of weight by eating fast food every day because we don't want to be mentioned in the same breath as some of those guys, but. This is an inspiring story. This is something that I feel like Chick-fil-A would want to latch onto, no?
Yeah, so I'm not in touch with them on the corporate level yet. The local chain is really excited about it, and I guess they're putting together like a basket for me and stuff like that. So I'm going to get that from them soon.
Like a Whitman sampler?
Love a basket, some sort of basket.
Okay.
They already
basket
sent
full
me a
of salad?
free salad on the app, so I'll take a free basket full of salads. But I haven't been in touch with them on the corporate level yet, but a couple of local media outlets have reached out about wanting to cover the story, which I think is really cool. And the most important thing for me is the people that have hit me up in the DMs to share their story and tell me that, hey, I read what you wrote and it's going to help me get on my health journey here. And it forced me to go and make a doctor's appointment that I didn't want to make. And dudes from college and high school that I haven't talked to in years texting me or hitting me up on Instagram saying, this really helped me a lot. So like, if nothing else comes of this, that's been the coolest thing for me is hearing from guys. And, I put it at the end of the essay, like, who knows, maybe I'm going to just start writing more blogs about this type of stuff. Maybe I'll put together some sort of mailbag type thing to share some of these stories and see where it goes. Cause it's definitely been the coolest response they've ever gotten to anything I've done in my career media-wise. So I'd love to keep doing stuff like it.
All right. Well, very cool. Tom Carroll, great to hear about this and this journey that you've been on, and I'm sure it inspired a lot of people. And it's very cool that you were able to do this and that you're living a healthy lifestyle and that what almost happened to you certainly didn't happen. I think we're all grateful for that. And your great work, of course, at WEEI and weei.com. Tom Carroll, everybody. Thanks for joining the show tonight.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk with you again soon. That is Tom Carroll, WEEI, weei.com, and noted Chick-fil-A superfan joining us here on the Christian Arcand.